Hi, this is Brent, and I'm talking today about practical ways to add cinnamon into our diet. The beneficial properties of cinnamon are many, and I recommend that you go online to look them up. You can Google search, you can go on PubMed, which has peer-reviewed medical journal articles, and you can type in cinnamon and see what people have discovered scientifically about cinnamon. And I've also included some links in the About section below. But just quickly, some of the benefits that I have read about include regulating blood sugar levels, antioxidant properties, and anti-infectious properties, especially antiviral. So I believe that cinnamon is very useful to include into a diet. I've talked in one of my other videos about nutritionally dense foods, or adding lots of different plant chemicals into our diet to help to support the body as it detoxes and deals with the environmental pollutions that we have just in our daily lives. And so adding cinnamon to your foods is a good way to increase the nutritional density. So in the United States, there are, or in the world, there are two main types of cinnamon that you can buy, and it's not always clear which is which. So in the, if you look at a scientific name for a plant, it'll have the first name and the second name. The first name is the genus, and the second name is the species. So the two types of cinnamon have the same genus name, Cinnamomum, but the species name is different. True cinnamon, also called Ceylon cinnamon, is different from Cassia cinnamon. And in the United States, the most common type you'll find on supermarket shelves is Cassia cinnamon. I have here a bottle of Trader Joe's ground cinnamon I bought in the United States, and if you look all around the label, there is no indication of what species this cinnamon is. And because we're in the United States, it most likely is Cassia. I recommend using true cinnamon because the two species have slightly different properties, one being that Cassia cinnamon has high levels of coumarin, which is a blood thinner and can interact with certain medications. So to get true cinnamon in the United States, I have found the best way is to get it through mail order. And I've had personal success with two different companies, Mountain Rose Herbs in Oregon and Florida Herb House in Florida. So once you have your cinnamon, what are some ways to get it into the diet? I have had success just the way that I am. I like to make a morning smoothie, and I dump a lot of healthy things into it. So for me, I like to add in between a teaspoon and tablespoon of cinnamon chips to my smoothie, and the blades of the blender will grind up the chips and make them just very small, and I can drink it. A word about how to get the cinnamon. It comes in three forms. You can get it ground up, you can get it in smaller chips, and you can get it in quills, or the long rolls of cinnamon. So here I have an example of what the chips look like. And I just recommend that no matter what form you get it in, to keep it in an airtight container. And especially if you're using ground cinnamon, which has been, if you buy a spice that's been ground, then it's at risk to lose a lot of the aromatic components of the spice because they've been released during the grinding process. So it's especially important to keep ground spices airtight, and if possible, use the chips or the quills and grind your own ground spice if you need the ground spice for a recipe. So One way is the morning smoothie. There are some other ways that I've thought about. Oatmeal. Oatmeal tastes great with the chips. You don't even have to grind them up. Another way is hot drinks. You can add the ground spice to hot chocolate, coffee, etc. You can add the chips or the quills to make yogi tea, which I talk about in another video. Just boiling the spice to get the properties into a nutritionally dense tea. Baked items, there are different sweet breads like banana bread that cinnamon is very good in. You can also add it into certain main dishes. Cinnamon is a spice used in certainly in Indian cuisine. You can add it if you're making a curry type dish. You can add it, I have a recipe for a Jamaican chicken dish which uses cinnamon. So you can add it into recipes that call for it, but I've found that cinnamon has a very bold, distinct flavor, and so I don't recommend just adding a little bit into whatever dish you're making, because it will impact the flavor of the dish. Great, well, there were some practical ways to add cinnamon into your diet. One last thing I'll mention is that you can get cinnamon essential oils. They make them from the bark, and another separate oil they make from the leaves. And you'll need to check also if you're getting the cinnamon, true cinnamon or cassia cinnamon. The ways to ingest or to use cinnamon essential oils have not been well studied, so I recommend you do some extensive reading or talk to your doctor about how you might use cinnamon essential oil to benefit your body. And if you're not going to use it internally, you can certainly use it for the aromatic properties. Cinnamon is great for aromatherapy. You can sprinkle some cinnamon on a baking dish, put it in low heat in the oven, and if you have guests coming over, they'll just be shocked by how wonderful your house smells. And the same thing with the essential oils, great for aromatherapy. All right, thanks again, and I hope you have a good time using cinnamon in your diet.